My demons was gambling.
And that's a motherfucker.
I don't know if you've ever heard this. I think that's the worst addiction out there.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Why?
It's the only one you can win in.
It's fucking true though, bro.
It's the only one.
I've never heard that.
Yo, think about it, right? It's the only one where if I hit the roulette table right now, there is a chance I could take them for a couple $1,000s. And then I'm like, oh shit, I got my rent, I got my bills, I could go buy sneak, I could do all this shit. But then there's also I could hit that table and lose everything. And then I hit the ATM and I lose everything. But it's the only one where you've seen a positive out of it. For a lot of people, financial is like the biggest indicator for people's happiness and their stresses. Like, bro, I used to have my own demons with like mental health stuff and being depressed and all that. And man, I'm not exactly balling out of control. Like I still have to budget my money, but now that I am making money, like, I don't have those problems anymore.
Right.
And
So today, we're gonna talk about one of my worst addictions ever, gambling. Me personally, I feel like gambling is way more addictive than drugs. It's that rush. I used to hustle all day long, every single day, just to take my money to the casino and lose it all. I used to be addicted to that blackjack table. If y'all know blackjack, y'all know that shit is rigged. You'll have a 20. The dealer will show a 3. Here, king, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, ace, 21. The house always wins. And with blackjack, they have a 51% chance of winning. You have a 49% chance of winning. That 1% will cost you your life, your relationship, your house. I'm literally banned from all 3 casinos in Buffalo. I used to be up there so much that I started hitting my licks up there. Long story short, they caught me on the camera doing what I do. Permanently banned me. I remember sometimes I'd take my daughter's mom up there. Say if I started winning, I'd give her my chips to hold. Like, yo, hold these black chips and don't give me these back. I don't care how bad I beg for them. Do not give me these chips back. As soon as I lose, I'll go right back up to her. Bro, give me them chips back. And you know how it is. Like, she'll just look at me like, feel me, knowing I was about to lose all of it. It's crazy because I used to want my spouse to support my gambling. The fuck? The way we think is crazy. I remember I used to be addicted to them dice. Oh my goodness. We used to be shooting dice for hours. The skin would be coming off my knees. My hands would be black from being on that floor just shooting all day long. I remember my boy, he got like 15 bands in pandemic money. I watched him lose all that shit in 2 days shooting dice. I used to think that people were addicted to the wins, but really, I found out that people were addicted to the losses. Say, for example, you buying at the blackjack table for $100 and you win $200. You could walk out with $300. All right, I just made my money. Say you walk in and lose that $100. Automatically, bro, I can't take this loss, bro. I can't lose no 100. I got to get my money back. And now you'll forever chase that money back. Out of the thousands of times that I've been to the casino, I could only count on one hand how many times I really won big. It's not set up for you to win. It's set up for you to fail. They let you smoke in there. They serve you free drinks. There's no windows. There's no clocks. It's literally set up to put you in a trance where you lose the concept of time. Sports betting is the worst thing they ever came out with. My first sports bet I ever made, I had a 4-leg parlay. I bet $10 and I won $150. Bro, I don't think I ever won after that ever again. I would make a good parlay, lose that joint by a leg or two, and then just chase it with live bets. Betting on volleyball, hockey, Spanish, tennis, all kind of shit to the point where I was just chasing it. But long story short, if you're gonna gamble, only gamble what you could lose because there's a very high chance of you losing.
Last night, after I gambled away my rent money for the month, I decided to call the Gamblers Anonymous hotline because I was at rock bottom. And you won't believe what these people said to me. And believe it or not, it wasn't when I was up at 3 in the morning betting on Vietnamese tennis or soccer that I realized that I had a problem. It wasn't until this Kansas versus UNLV game that happened last night. At halftime, my bets were at 90 to 95% of the way to hitting. And then after halftime, it was the worst football game I'd ever played. I was at rock bottom, I find the number on the app, and I call the number. So I'm on the phone, and immediately after dialing the number, I hear an automated voice go, "Hello, you have reached the Gamblers Anonymous hotline. Wait right there. Do not place another bet. We will have a live agent with you shortly." And I can't even lie, while I was waiting for the live agent, my fingers were itching to place another bet, but I decided to wait it out. It's crazy because I actually thought that help was on the way, but what happens next made me wish I never called them. After waiting for about 85 to 90 seconds, I finally hear a human being's voice on the other end of the phone. He goes, "Hello, this is Dejing. What is your reason for calling?" At that point, I snapped. I immediately lost. I said, "Listen here, Dejing. This isn't soccer. This isn't tennis. This is Division I college football we're talking about here." And then this is the worst part about the whole conversation. The man had the audacity to tell me, "Hold on one second." I said, "Hold on one second." He goes, "Put that back." And then he goes, "Hey, hello, sorry, I'm back." I said, "What did you just say?" He said, sorry, man, I wasn't talking to you. Somebody tried to grab something they shouldn't touch out of the store. I said, the store? He said, yeah, this Gamblers Anonymous thing, I just do that on the side. I'm really on working the night shift right now. I said, look here, Dion, Deshaun, DeZorno, whatever your name is. You're not taking this seriously enough for me, man. Get somebody else on the phone.
You know you're fucking cooked when you think that sports betting is going to be your next source of income. Like, stop trying to put in that last dollar to win everything back that you already lost on Prize Picks. It's even worse when you give up on traditional sports or esports and you start going to shit like the presidential election or a hot dog eating contest. Now, I also won't lie, I've had my fair share of gambling in the past, and that's how I know all this. There was a period of time where I got my wisdom teeth removed, and the only thing I could do was rot in my fucking bed. Let's just say I made a lot of money from betting on the LCK and the LEC. But then I realized life is so much better when you're not drooling at your fucking phone screen waiting for a parlay to hit. Betting is one of those things that you're never going to be satisfied with, no matter how much money you make in one day.
How do you control your gambling habit?
Well, I used to be like a street gambler. So I ain't in the street no more. So I don't even got nobody to gamble. You feel me? Like, I don't gamble with my friends, like people I know. I don't hang around nobody, so I'm really good. But now I gamble at a casino. And that's like way worse than street gambling. But I haven't woke up one day and like I'm going to the casino. If I'm there, nah, I gamble. Like, I'm really over that stage in my life.
Are you good at walking away when you're up, or do you feel
I
like...
just learned how to do it. Right now, that's how I've been winning. And I learned how to do that. Like, if I win 200,000, I'm still trying to win $1 million. Now, I'll just be like, all right, let's just leave with the 200.
Oh, shit, bro. You just won $1 billion from the lotto, bro. What you gonna do with it?
$1 billion parlay.
Bro, what you mean, bro? We already got money now. Like, we don't have to
It was
do
never
that.
about the money.
Yo, please don't do that shit, dog. Like, come on, you can help everybody.
You would understand.
Yo, my nigga, please don't do that shit.
What was the moment you realized you needed to get your life in order? Realized I spent 3 hours online gambling in my work bathroom and we closed an hour ago.
Bro, I hear gambling's an addiction. It's an addiction. Don't look at me like that.
You know my horror stories, bro. You've been present at some of them. When I'm in a casino sometimes, I become a different person. I could win, let's say, 5 bills on something. I'll say, hold 3. No matter what, don't give me that 3. Fam, I'll be at your ankles. I'll be at your ankles. Run me the 3.
Yeah.
Run me the 3 or we're not leaving.
Yeah.
Because it's my money regardless. I know what I told you 5 minutes ago, but it's my money regardless. Run me my money. You're not my bank.
So today's day 1 of attempting to quit my gambling addiction. For the first time in about 3-4 months, I've gone 24 hours without gambling. I am withdrawing really, really bad. Just past the casino, and I did it. I'm walking to my car. So we'll see how this goes.
Part 3 of my mom's raging gambling addiction. When I was 8, I sprained my ankle after flipping off of a trampoline. And when I went to the ER and they asked where my mom was, she refused to pick up her phone. And when she did, she told me to tell them that she was 2 hours away at the casino. One time my mom left the casino on Christmas Eve and left me and my cousins home alone. We did not see her until after New Year's. My fridge was literally always empty for 3 years of my life except for casino carryout food, which I didn't mind because sometimes there was lobster and filet mignon. She would miss soccer games, cheer meets, and choir concerts and tell me it was because she had to work. But when I logged into her Apple ID and checked her location, she was always at the casino. Sometimes when our electricity and heat bill wasn't paid because she was always at the casino, we would go stay at free 5-star hotels at the casino because she was always at the casino and had a lot of points.
There's no help for gamblers. There's one sign as you drive into Las Vegas. It says, gambling problem, please call this number. That's ineffective. It should at least say, gambling problem? I bet you won't call this number. That would be more effective. Because these people have a gambling problem.
I know that I try and be upbeat on these videos and try to inform. But even today, I've lost everything I've put down. Every wage. Sorry, I can't even get my words. Every amount that the wages I've got in this job, I've already lost them. And it's not even like 5 days into getting the amount I needed. And now I don't know what to do. Because I've got still bills to pay. And it just gets me every time. And I've had so good helpful comments and such, so I've got to try through it, but I'm just here to say it's never easy.
Gambling addicts be like.
Are you or a loved one dealing with a gambling problem? Explore the warning signs and symptoms and learn how to stop.
Most of the memories I have of my mom during the last 10 years of her life have to do with her favorite pastime, and that was gambling. When she stopped gambling towards the last year or dramatically reduced it, I thought, yes, because that's what we're supposed to think about addiction, right? Addiction equals bad, and so when people stop equals good. I didn't have the wherewithal to think the one thing that has motivated her to get out of bed for the last 10 years, the only thing that seems to bring her joy, she has stopped doing, and therefore you should be incredibly concerned. And even though I was addicted to heroin, I couldn't apply some of that same logic to my own mom's addiction. I never understood it. Drugs are at least reliable and consistent, and there's like a limiting factor. For $40 that day, you get super high. Gambling, there's no limit. You will just max out your ATM withdrawals. It's more like cocaine, except it's statistically improbable. You know you are going to lose if you keep doing it. And my mom was so smart, and I didn't understand how she could be so stupid. She would go to Gamblers Anonymous, but it didn't really work for her. And I thought, oh, Mom, it's because you don't want it bad enough. You just want to keep gambling, even though I didn't like NA. And I am my mother's daughter, and it's probably for the same reasons. She actually went to inpatient for gambling through the VA, where she learned some harm reduction tactics, and that made her gambling better. She would spend less because of her Air Force retirement and disability. She got paid on the first of the month, which means she would pay the rent. For the first 8 years of her gambling addiction, she didn't have that. So times were real rough, but then she got this like back pay. And see, these are some of my favorite memories. Twice my mom got VA back pay, like $50,000 one time, $30,000 another. And my mom was always super generous with that money. So she would just take me on these wild shopping sprees, and I had everything I wanted, but that's because she felt a lot of guilt over those really rough years where the rent wasn't paid, where we lost the house, where there wasn't food to eat, where I dropped out of high school to work at McDonald's. And so she would sort of try to buy my love. And well, you know what? It kind of worked. But, even in those rough years, if she won that night, she would always come home and hand me a crispy $100 bill. Anytime I needed to kick heroin, she would book a hotel room at the casino in Lincoln City, post up in there, give me a handful of her benzos so I would just be comatose. And in the moments I was awake, I was smoking weed and going to the casino to gamble with her. My mom had severe clinical depression her entire life. She spent most of her time laying prone in bed watching TV. So some of the few times we went out of the house together when I was an adult was when I would accompany her to gamble, and she would hand me 20 or 40 bucks. If she handed me 40, I would pocket a 20 so I could buy heroin later and then gamble the 20. And I still remember her favorite games, Lucky Lemmings, Pharaoh's Fortune. And she had all these strategies, how to get into the bonus round and how to touch the screens. And I would sit there and we would laugh, and she would drink her Diet Pepsi. And if it weren't for that, all I would remember of my mom is her laying in bed watching TV, and I'm not going to feel ashamed of that. I am glad I have these memories of my mom. They make me happy. So what if they have to do with addiction? Addiction doesn't negate everything else that makes us a human being. You know why my mom had a gambling addiction? Because she hit 2 jackpots back to back, like on a regular person vacation to Vegas in the 90s. And then from there, she started using it as a method of escape because she was in an abusive relationship. But then it just got super out of hand. And then even after she separated, her gambling got even worse. She got even more depressed. So it just became something all her own. I have a lot more grace now when I reflect back on what her partner had to deal with. You know, I spent my teenage years driving around to all her favorite bars, trying to find her, pulling her out by her ear so that maybe she would pay the mortgage that month, while the bartender's yelling at my 16-year-old ass to get out of their bar. We would call it Helen hunting because that was my mom's name. I would drive around with my boyfriend. This was just a mission we would go on. She would let me host these rager house parties. I mean 100, 150 teenagers all doing ecstasy in the house. And when she ran out of money at the bar, she would come home and collect a few dollars from each of the people or threaten to shut the party down. And that was a pretty successful tactic. And she had so much guilt over that later in life. Once she got that retirement in Air Force, which meant she was more financially stable, she had a lot of shame about these things. But you know what? My mom always loved me unconditionally. She was incredibly affectionate. And until the day she died, I would crawl up in bed with her and cuddle. And one of the things that guts me is in the last month, I was snuggling up with her and she said, "You know how I can tell you're high? You're nice to me." Because I would get high and go snuggle up with my mom. And that just kills me because there was a time where I just did that, but I became increasingly frustrated. Our relationship was so complex. There was so much hurt and trauma there that when I was sober, we didn't always get along. We would butt heads. Now, we always loved each other. I would always say, "I love you," give her a big hug. But there was this sense of animosity, and there's this atmosphere lyric about his dead dad. So much anger in my veins, now it brings me shame. And I think about that all the time, because if I could just get a redo, I would tell my mom that she did a great job and that I turned out just fine. She gave me the life skills that I needed to be successful, and she gave me love, affection, high self-esteem, so that I had that underlying baseline capacity to get over my traumas in a way that so many people I was in prison with just don't have, because they didn't have that love and safety from a young age. So this is the mom I want to remember. I want to remember my mom going hard on Pharaoh's Fortune, getting in the bonus round. You know, after she died, because I got that lump sum of the life insurance money, I don't like to gamble because it's mathematically improbable. I like things that are reliable and consistent. That's why I like drugs. But just so I could feel connected to my mom, I went to some of her favorite spots and I would gamble. I would sit on her favorite machines trying to get into the bonus round so I could use my mom's strategy, because it made me feel connected to her. And I don't know how many thousands of dollars I spent. I forget this part of this time after she died. I always think that I shot all the money up in my arms, but that's not true. I gambled thousands because that was how I felt connected, because those were so many of my memories of her in the last 10 years of her life. But when she stopped gambling, I saw that as a good thing, instead of her giving up on the only thing that brought her joy. And it should have been a harbinger of doom, but I didn't perceive it. And then she took too many of her morphine one night. In fact, she'd done it a few times, because a couple weeks before that, I found her essentially overdosing and took her to the hospital. And that night I didn't find her in time, you know. And did she kill herself? Did she just not care? Was it sort of like a passive suicide? Or did she have a migraine and take some extra pills? I will never know. But I know that there were signs. And the sign was she stopped gambling. That wasn't a good thing. That was her coping strategy, and that was her only coping strategy. She didn't replace it with a healthy thing. So you can't just take away the drugs without healing the underlying problem. If you take away the drugs and there's still that, it can actually make it worse. And my mom's death is the perfect example of that. So this person saying it's sad that my mom sent me to ride roller coasters so she could gamble, it's a happy memory. And you do not get to define what is and isn't sad because of your black and white notions of addiction. Miss you, Mama.
Gambling is a nightmare, and once you get caught in the web, and Joe Rogan shuts me down, then I start putting bets with, and then pretty soon I start dipping into accounts, and pretty soon now you're done. Now you get forced into a bad hand.
Nobody stresses me out more than my motherfucking self. I'm fucking crazy. And I need money management. Like, bitch, you're not rich. Who do you think you are? Big Meech? Like, come on. What are you doing? I need to do better. Somebody help me do better. Please.
I gamble online.
On like Hard Rock Bet?
Yeah, basically same type of thing. I just gamble online. And yesterday, sorry, what?
What do you do online? Is it like sports betting or?
Yeah, sports betting.
And yesterday what happened?
Lost 140 grand. And part of me, just because I'm a gambler, wants to go in with like, I have like a couple 100,000 left, but I'm not going to do that. And I'm just itching to gamble again. It's bad. It's so bad. I've been really hard-headed with myself lately, but it's actually an addiction.
Aside from gambling, do you struggle with any other addictions, or is it just gambling?
Just gambling.
Alright. And how old are you, John, my asking?
22?
You said 22?
Yep.
And how long have you been gambling for?
4 years?
And then when did you realize that it became an issue to your life?
It started with like little bets, like $500, $1,000, and yesterday I placed my biggest bet of like 80 grand and lost. And then I chased it, and I lost more. And I just do it out like randomly. Like I don't even think before I do. I just literally do it. That's like blacking out.
And what is your support system like? Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you live with family?
I got a girl. She's with me right now.
And does she know about it as well?
Yeah.
Does it cause any like sort of conflict, neglect, or violence?
Excuse me?